Hello, my news. How's it going? I hope you're having a fun time. I have not been having a fun time. Thank you very much for asking. Why, you might also ask? Well, that's because I have been subjecting myself to the Black Ops 7 campaign, which, well, we'll get into it in a minute. So if you saw my previous video on the backstory you need to know before starting the Black Ops 7 campaign, you should know that Black Ops 7 is supposed to be a sequel to Black Ops 2. But it's not. It's only a sequel if sequel means chucking in some passing references to some events, ignoring pretty much the entire storyline of its predecessor, and is essentially nostalgia bait. Now, I know there's been a lot of hate going on with the campaign. I mean, a lot of hate. And another question you might be asking, because you're obviously full of questions this evening, is why? Why do people hate it so much? Well, I'll tell you, it objectively sucks. I'm not joking. It really does suck balls bigly. So with that in mind, you know already how I feel. Let's take a look at what the story actually is, if you can call it a story, and we'll jump on into the Black Ops 7 campaign. Explained. Warning, spoilers ahead, obviously. Our first mission is called Exposure. We get a short cutscene where we find out that Frank Woods has finally popped his clogs at the ripe old age of 104. Now, it's not explicitly explained during this cutscene what's going on, but the inference is Raul Menendez is back, even though David Mason section killed him in Black Ops 2. Except I didn't kill him in Black Ops 2, I just threw him in prison. He's now reappeared, he's rallying his followers, and JSOC are worried that all hell's gonna break loose. So we're then briefly introduced to the JSOC team that we'll be playing as, codenamed Spectre 1. We have David Mason, who's the team leader. We have Harper, who I definitely killed in Black Ops 2. No deep questions about it. But he's risen from the dead, just like Menendez, apparently. We have 50-50, who is half woman, half robot. Why? I don't know. It's not explained. And no one really mentions it. And then we have Samuels, who was also in Black Ops 2, and he was a Secret Service agent tasked with protecting President Bosworth during the ill-fated Los Angeles mission. We'll get to that later. Spectre 1's mission is to gather intel on a link between the Guild and Raul Menendez. What is the Guild? I don't know. It's not explained. Why should we care about the threat? I don't know. That's not explained either. After another cutscene, we get matchmaking. Because this is a co-op campaign, so you have to matchmake with other players like you would in a multiplayer match. So then we matchmake, and then we get another cutscene. So then we finally start getting into the meat and potatoes of this mission. 50-50 casually mentions C-links. What are they? I don't know. It's not properly explained. Very much like much of this game, there seem to be assuming prior knowledge of stuff, but there is no prior knowledge because this is a sequel to Black Ops 2 and there are no C-links in Black Ops 2. But from what I can make out, there's some kind of chip in your head that links the team together and also provides data to headquarters. It's very reminiscent of the direct neural interface, or DNI, in Black Ops 3. But this is a Black Ops 2 sequel, so Black Ops 3? Who is she? Don't know her. During the mission, the Spectre 1 team breaks into Guild headquarters, or a big Guild facility, or some Guild thing. What is it? We don't know. We're not told. And then we are presented with a shoot fest, which seemingly never ends. It's just NPC after NPC after NPC as we make our way through the facility towards a server room, which we're told that is quite important. Why is it important? I don't know. They don't tell us. So anyway, we get to the server room and we find a quantum computer. And we steal the drive out of it. What's on the drive? I don't know. No one's told us. We're just told that we need the drive. When we try and leave, we're cornered in a room. Because we are professionals and we run down a corridor that doesn't have an exit. When we get into the room, we're greeted by a big screen version of Raul Menendez. And he's then replaced by someone called Emma Kagan. Who is Kagan? Well, she's apparently the CEO of the guild. But we don't know what the guild is, remember? We've got no backstory for Emma Kagan. Why does she hate JSOC? Dunno. We're never told. Why has she created all these robots and tech things? Dunno. We're never told. So, Kagan, for reasons only known to herself, unleashes a prototype red gas on the group. Because it's the most sensible thing to do, they blow up the explosives that they planted earlier. Because of the explosion, the gas escapes the containment room, and all of the technicians in the vicinity start turning violent towards each other as they're exposed. Why? Well, we can assume it's the gas. But our guys are fine. Why are they fine? I don't know. It's not explained at the moment. Suspector 1 has to move through the facility, fighting off all of these infected technicians, which is not at all reminiscent of the Rage virus from 28 Days Later or anything. Not in the slightest. As they're moving through the facility, they begin to hallucinate. Although that's what we're told over the comms chatter that they're having between themselves. We don't see any of these hallucinations. We can hear some kind of whispering, growly voices in the background. But they're discussing things that they can see, but we don't see them as a player. So, again, don't know what's going on. We then get another cutscene that shows Menendez taunting David Mason. And that triggers a mass hallucination among the four of them, where they're sucked through the floor into like a fractured, weird landscape, which is very reminiscent of Black Ops 3, when the Corvus AI starts taking over the DNIs of the Black Ops team. But, who is she again? We don't know Black Ops 3. This is a Black Ops 2 sequel, right? And nothing to do with Black Ops 3 in the slightest. Anyway, sucked into this new world, the Spectre team make their way across the landscape and reach a villa. And Mason and the team have to confront Menendez. And we get another cutscene. This is the first boss fight. Yes, there are now boss fights in Call of Duty, including health bars and everything. So you have to fight Menendez while he pops in and out of existence, take out some soldiers, work as a team, revive each other, all that kind of jazz. And then the boss fight finishes once you finally wear Menendez down to 0 health. Then we have another cutscene where we're back in the real world and we can see the gas is spreading through Avalon and the guild are evacuating the city. We now move on to mission 2, called Inside. Spectre 1 make their way into Avalon to find out what the guild are trying to hide. Well, it's probably the big red gas that was unleashed, which wouldn't have been unleashed if they hadn't have blown up the facility, but you know, shh, we won't talk about that. As we move into Avalon, we're tasked with meeting up with Karma, also known as Chloe, who's a character from Black Ops 2. She might also be dead, depending on some of the mission choices that you made during the Black Ops 2 campaign. So, technically, we're dealing with 2 dead people, 2 alive people. I don't know. They're just completely ignoring the plot of Black Ops 2 at the moment. So this mission is the same sweatfest of killing NPCs as you progress across the map to an arbitrary point in order to hook up with Karma. We meet her under the city. She gives us a mission of obtaining scans of biometric chips that are in several of the dead inhabitants. Once we've obtained all the biometric scans, this leads Karma to realise that there is an insider somewhere that might be able to help us understand what the gas is. So we need to make our way through the city again, fighting even more NPCs, to locate the insider, rescue them, and hopefully get the information that we need. We find out where the insider is, and he's inside a shipping container. But the minute we enter the shipping container, we are transported to a jungle landscape, which is supposed to be Angola from Black Ops 2, except it's not, because it doesn't look anything like it. But it's where Alex Mason, David's father, was sent to rescue Frank Woods after he'd been captured and tortured by Menendez. This then leads into Mission 3, Distortion. We have to use our grapple guns to move through the landscape, which is notably different to the Black Ops 2 jungles of Angola, as I said previously. Again, there's floating rocks and elements in the sky, which is very reminiscent of Black Ops 3. But we're not talking about Black Ops 3. This is a Black Ops 2 sequel. There's weird vines that start spreading everywhere that glow. And then we're transported to a dark series of crates wrapped in vines that's totally not the Upside Down from Stranger Things, because we're not ripping that off either. We need to fight zombies and weird flying insects. And then we finally reach the crate that contains Woods. And then, cutscene! We now have to fight against a giant plant and zombie hordes in order to escape the hallucination. Another boss fight, in other words. When we escape the hallucination, we're back in the crate with the insider, who tells us that the gas created by the guild is called Cradle. Why is that name important? I don't know. And it's never explained what the significance of that name is or how it fits into anything else. Unless I missed something. I don't know. We then move into our next mission, Escalation. As the Escalation mission starts, Spectre 1 realises that they can beat Cradle by acting together as a team. Well, I tell you what, the irony, because I had to play this mission solo, because no matter how many times I tried going in and out of this match and trying to matchmake and find people to join me, I couldn't do it. I think I must have tried for about 30 minutes before I just was like, no, I'd have to do it on my own. And my goodness, was it just, oh god, dire. You could tell that this was made for 4-person co-op, not an individual person struggling through on their own. Karma tells us that the drive that we've retrieved in the first mission can't be accessed by a normal computer, and because we blew up the quantum computer at the guild headquarters, we need to find a new one. Guess what? Cutscene. Surprise, surprise. Menendez is actually dead, and the video circulating are deepfakes created by the guild. Why? It's not really explained why they chose him, especially as he's been dead for like 10 years. But it turns out that the guild had planned to release the Cradle gas all along and blame it on Menendez and his Cordus Day group. Although they don't mention Cordus Day at all. Spectre 1, infiltrating the guild base, just moved up the timetable somewhat. As the team move through Avalon, they need to take out a sniper. This is basically another kind of mini boss fight, and after you defeat the sniper boss, you get a key card. And then once you get the key card, you can access some servers, and then Karma can find the location of the guild's other quantum computer. It's all very grindy and quite repetitive, and also quite difficult if you're on your own. Like I said, it does really need at least 2 people, I would think, to play it. I managed it. Luckily, if you die, you just restart from a spawn point almost. But, oh, it was hard work. And I can see that if people wanted to play on their own, that they would give up quite quickly. Because it is just a thankless task shooting all of these NPC bot type characters. But then, after we've hacked into the computers, we're on to Mission 5, Disruption. Karma's located one of the guild's other quantum computers in Tokyo, so that means that Spectre 2 is up. This is a team of 4 randos. We don't really know anything about them. They have no personalities, they have no backstory, and they have nothing to add to what's going on, really, in terms of anything. Kinda. We'll come to that later. Spectre 2 need to infiltrate a yacht in order to get an executive or someone working with the guild to lead them to the Forge, which is a high-tech development facility, because they reckon that they can just approach this guy and go, "Oh, hi mate, can I just take you off your yacht party and you go to work with us in the middle of the night on a Friday after you've been drinking and partying?" And it's convoluted at best. Anyway, they board the yacht, shoot, fight. Executive guy has been taken out. So what do? Their master backup plan: crash the yacht into the Forge. Yes, they pilot the boat into the guild facility, because that's not going to draw attention, is it? That's a perfectly normal thing to do. I mean, the writing in this is just... Anyway, the boat crashes, they make it into the Forge facility, fight their way through, and then make it to a computer terminal or something and get a decryption key that will allow Karma to access data on the drive. Something like that. It's all very confusing, and you also don't have a lot of time to pay attention to the dialogue, because there are so many flipping enemies to fight, so you're just concentrating, shoot. And meanwhile, you've got all of this character dialogue going on, which you can't keep up with, because the sound of gunfire is too high, and you're like, am I getting shot from the left, the right, the up, oh, it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But you need to hear the dialogue, because it explains what you need to do next in the storyline and why you're doing it. Well, I say that. It doesn't actually explain why you're doing most of the things you're doing the majority of the time, but you catch my drift. Anyway, once we've got the decryption chip code key thing, we need to get out of the Forge and then reach an extraction point, which takes us through the underground, or subway, I guess, if you're not English, and then across the roofs of Tokyo to get to the exfil point. But of course, there's another boss fight, which this time is a rooftop battle with an advanced guild VTOL, which is, again, a grind. But with all 4 of you working together, it's reasonably easy. I can see it being a right pain in the backside if you're on your own. And then, cutscene. Harper and 50/50 are having a bit of a laugh and a banter while they're arm wrestling. Obviously, Harper loses because 50/50 is half robot. And then Razor, the Spectre 2 leader, contacts Mason, Spectre 1 leader, and all of a sudden he's worried that there might be a mole in their midst. Dun dun dun! I wonder who that might be. Nothing like a bit of deflection, is there? Shh! Don't spoil it. We then move on to Mission 6, Collapse. My will is collapsing at this point, I tell ya. But as if to prove that Razor's mole theory is true, pretty much immediately, Spectre 1 team's VTOL is attacked by guild drones. 2 of them are destroyed, but 1 of them is still floating about somewhere. So the team is tasked with taking down the last surviving drone, intact, basically forcing it to land, so that they can recover a chip from it, because it's all about chips in this game, that will hopefully allow them to discover who the traitor is. Because in theory, the traitor was the one that programmed the drones to attack the VTOL. And obviously they're not sensible enough to cover their footsteps, and they're not sensible enough to use somebody else's account, or a pseudonym, or anything like that. So you have to fight your way through more NPCs, bang bang, shoot shoot, pew pew, in order to get control of a surface-to-air missile turret, and then knock the drone out of the sky. Scene. We're now in Mission 7, Fracture. At the start of this mission, we're now in a memory shared by Mason and Samuels. It's a twisted version of Los Angeles from 2025, where Samuels thinks he failed to protect President Bosworth. This is completely at odds with the actual storyline of Black Ops 2. Samuels was a minimal role in that. The majority of President Bosworth's saving was done by Mason. So much of him beating himself up, I never saved the president, all that kind of whiny crap that goes on here, feeling sorry for himself, none of it ever happened. So the team must make their way across the twisted highways of Los Angeles. It's totally not a rip-off of Inception. Oh no, not another rip-off. Shush. After they reach the downed drone, Samuels extracts the memory drive, and then cutscene. This time, we're transported into one of 50/50's memories. What is it? Dunno. Why is it traumatic? I don't know. Does it explain her backstory? Not in the slightest. Why is it in this game? No idea. All we know is that just over 18 months ago, and slightly after 50/50 got her bionics, something happened that caused her to overload them, and that's it. Well explained, scriptwriters. Well explained. Brilliant narrative, that. We do find out her first name is Lilani, so that's character development, I guess. After fighting our way through Roji, Japan, where this inciting incident for 50/50 took place, though we're not told what the inciting incident is, the outcome, or anything, we reach a guild safe house. And when we enter, cutscene. Harper is transmitting the drone data to Karma. He's confronted on a screen with Salazar. He's the JSOC traitor from Black Ops 2. Although in my playthrough of the game, Harper never found out Salazar was an inside man, because he was already dead by this point. With Harper's rage building over thoughts of inside men, traitors, moles, he just starts hulking out. And I'm sure you've seen scenes of this, but this is where we get the giant Harper attacking the team as they're all running around the deck of the USS Obama. Now, weirdly, at this point in time, I was actually the Harper character. So we have giant Harper in front of me, but I am normal Harper, having to shoot giant Harper, but my character never mentions that he's having to shoot at himself, or that himself is weird, or that it's what would have been better would have been for me being Harper turning into the big Harper and trying to take out my teammates. But I guess that's too much like thinking and plot points and being sensible. So anyway, Giant Harper is now the boss fight. And you have to kind of shoot him in the mouth or something in order to defeat him, but he gets defeated. And he kind of collapses onto the deck of the Obama. And then we have cutscene. Back in the reality of Avalon, Karma tells the crew that the traitor is Razor, to which I say, duh. Honestly, that was telegraphed a mile off. And even though Razor attempted to corrupt the data that he sent through to Karma, she's managed to find a scientist that they need to question, called Gideon Faulkner, who may be able to give them more clues about the Cradle. And then we're launched into Mission 8, Quarantine. Heading through Avalon, the team fight against guild forces again until they reach the mad scientist Faulkner. We get a cutscene. He's been running some tests on Spectre because of how their C-Link technology which is undefined and we don't know exactly what it does, how it works, anything like that. But he's interested in it, and somehow he can run tests on it. So he's wondering how the C-Link is helping them repel the effects of the cradle. He sent his findings to somewhere called Sanctum, which is, I'm assuming, some kind of mainframe computer run by the guild. So the team must now infiltrate Sanctum and find Faulkner's data on the mainframe computer and destroy it. On reaching Sanctum, while prepping to blow it up, we get a scene, which leads into Mission 9, Suppression. As this mission launches, we're now sucked into David's memories of his father. There's the escape from Vorkuta from Black Ops 2, minus the important Reznov character, any mention of numbers or anything like that, which is, I think, really odd, as it was such a massive plot point and a major part of what made Alex Mason in Black Ops 2. We need to protect David's core memories of his father as Kagan tries to destroy them, and therefore him. How is she doing this? We don't know. Why is she doing this? We also don't know. Anyway, we go through 3 memories of David. I actually missed one of the memory saves somehow. I don't know how, but it was the one where Alex and David are up a tree. And according to people that have seen it, it completely changes the narrative of what happened in Black Ops to retconning Alex and making him into a decent father. He's not. He's a piece of shit, basically. But we get through this mission. There's more zombies and stuff. It's kind of lighter again. And then we move into Mission 10, Breakpoint. And it's cutscene time again. Because of Spectre 1's progress in taking down the guild's cradle operation, Kagan's accelerated the program. Karma's managed to use Faulkner's research to stop the cradle affecting the team's C-Links. Well, that's what she says she's done, but judging what's going to happen in a minute, I think she's lying or completely overestimating her abilities. But anyway, Spectre 1 must now move into Avalon to stop the guild's shipments of cradle gas being delivered across the globe. Why is Kagan sending shipments of cradle across the globe? Why does she want world domination? We don't know. No one's bothered to tell us. It's just something she's doing. Maybe it's because it's a Wednesday. Maybe she's got PMS. Maybe someone took her last Rolo. I don't know. So even though the team is supposed to be protected from Cradle by Karma's firmware changes or whatever she's done, we're still seeing weird stuff. Like zombies, red stars in the sky, loads of random stuff. Which, if Karma was successful, should have gone? No? I don't know. But once we fight our way back to reality, we have a new boss fight on our hands. The traitorous Razor. Again, he's running around with a health bar on his head. A bit like Menendez did, pinging in and pinging out. But with a bit of teamwork and a lot of patience because it's arduous. We defeat him. After we defeat Razor, we get a cutscene. In this cutscene, Harper kills him. But does he? I mean, does that mean anything? I mean, Harper died in Black Ops 2. Karma could have died in Black Ops 2. So I don't know. Is death really death? Who cares? I don't. After killing Razor, we now move on to our final mission. Containment. There's just over 5 hours to go in order to stop Cradle being released across the globe. How's it being released? Where is it being released? Why is it being released? Dunno. No one's telling us. We just are told we need to stop it, and that's it. Frankly, at this point, I don't care. I just want this game to be over at this point. It's a slog. It really is a slog. So we get yet another cutscene, and the team arrive at Blackheart, which is an offshore rig, but that's a rig that's more than it appears to be. Hiding beneath the surface is the main Cradle production facility, so the team must descend into the ocean depths, destroy the supply of Cradle and the manufacturing plant in order to stop Kagan's evil plans. Whatever those plans are. I mean, so there are robots, zombies, everything's being thrown at us in this mission, including some really annoying and confusing mini-games. And those really took me out of the story, because I couldn't figure it out, I couldn't be asked. But luckily I had a teammate that could. And again, if you're stuck on this on your own, and you can't do these mini-games, you can't progress the story. So, yet another thing that wasn't really thought through if you were playing solo. So we make it all the way down to where Cradle is being manufactured. And in order to destroy it, we need to superheat it. That'll vaporize the gas, but it will also take out the facility as well. There's more fights with robots, all sorts of NPCs, that kind of thing, as we try and fight with a computer to superheat the gas with another stupid ass minigame that I just stayed away from, and just shot at things. Once we've set the cradle container to superheat, the team capture Kagan. Now, unlike most supervillains, who normally have a monologue about why they're doing what they're doing, explain their motivation, all of that stuff, she says nothing and ultimately gets punched in the face by 50-50 and knocked out. I did quite enjoy that bit. That's probably the most fun bit of the game, I have to admit. So then we have to make our way through the facility in order to escape the explosion that is about to ensue. And then we escape and roll credits. Just kidding. No, there's another cutscene. And then we're put into not a mission, new game mode called Endgame. But to be honest, by this point in time, I had lost the will to live. You cannot pause the game. You cannot stop anything. And a couple of occasions where I needed to take a comfort break, I allowed myself to get shot out of the way so I could just lie on the floor, go to the bathroom, come back, and then move myself in front of a teammate so that I could be revived or just respawn. So I have no idea what Endgame is. I think it's just basically looks like a DMZ type mode. Again, it's not something that interests me. I don't know how playable it would be if you're on your own, whether you need a squad, or even how easy the squad matchmaking is going to be, considering not many people have probably made it this far through the campaign because it is that dire. I might pop in and have a play. If I do, maybe I'll drop a video on it. I don't know. I just had enough at this point, so I left my squad mates in the lurch and I rage quit. So that's the mess that is the Black Ops 7 campaign. We were told it was a sequel to Black Ops 2, but if anything, it's a cursory nod with a few mentions to characters and events that are completely misrepresented or even reimagined. We have a villain whose motivations are never explained. What is the Guild? What is Emma Kagan's backstory? Why was Cradle developed? And why does Kagan want to launch it across the world? We don't know. It's indicated that it's to sell tech to countries to help them cope with the violence that would ensue from the release of Cradle. But surely the complete collapse of a society, if the microcosm of what happened in Avalon scales, there'd be no one left to buy the Guild tech in the first place, so it simply makes no sense. And it's such lazy storytelling that even AI could have come up with something better. So what do you think? Have you played the campaign? Are there plot points that I missed? And there probably are, because with everything that's going on and not being able to hear or read the dialogue, there's got to be something that I'm missing. I mean, I'm hoping there's something I'm missing, because it can't be that bad. The story cannot be that bad, can it? In the comments, if I did miss something. I mean, are the characters and backstories more fleshed out than I realised? Again, was there something that I missed? Was I just concentrating too much on shooting rather than listening? If you've not played the Black Ops 7 campaign, will you? That's another question I'd like to know the answer to. There have been so many poor reviews over it, and so many people refunding it according to what I've seen on Twitter. Let me know that in the comments below as well. Are you going to be steering clear of it, or are you really interested because you want to experience the car crash that is this campaign? Compared to previous campaigns, I think this is probably the worst I've ever played. And that includes Black Ops 4, which didn't even have a campaign. With that being said, I'm off to have a lie down, a relax, and a little cry over the fact that that's 4 and a bit hours of my life that I won't get back. Until next time, my nudes, if you see some red gas in the air, make sure you don't sniff it. Alright, have a good one.